second map of what has been sensational Counter-Strike. He'll be fallen, smoking towards the B side. His teammates just going to rush straight in there. And here we go. The Glocks make their way towards the B bomb site. Bolt to lead the charge. Can he take their first kill down? Looks like he probably will, but whiffs the shot. Edward will drop him, and there's a fast reaction here from the CTs. Simple arrives in emphatic style. He takes down coldzera.
Stu takes out Zeus. Simple still waiting at the sandbags. What a fast flick to catch Fallen. No bomb planted, so despite that they're inside of B, they're going to have to run it all the way around to A because they cannot commit to the plant. They're just far too close. Smart call, though. They did identify that there was no one back toward the stairwell and a safe plant for Fur. As a result, they're going to rotate out and through connector. Not everyone will, though, and this is an interesting call, and I do not blame Flamey in the least for making this. If everyone goes that way and the bomb's planted accordingly, it becomes somewhat predictable. So Stewie goes to search the stairs to see if he can spot anyone. Flamey's gotten the kill, and Stu is left alone. Good call from Flamey.
Here we go.
Keep them divided.
Stewie quiet in that first map and won't get any louder just yet. He'll be taken down. It's Navi to take the pistol hit. They kick things off on their map pick. Pretty comfortable defuse there from Electronic. 3-player survive as well. That's actually a big deal. Even on the pistol round, you can see they keep 3 sets of armor now, and it means they save cash going forward. So it's always beneficial, obviously, to keep as many players alive as you can, just for the finances, especially on that CT side. Fast B attempt there. Bolts definitely had the key to unlock the B site, had the positional control, flanked Edward, but couldn't find the shots. Only 2 kills picked up for them. There'll be the AKs coming out in the third. Camera's a little bit off. That is not Electronic, I assure you. That's Stewie 2K. And there we go. And this should be a bit of a formality, really. If they get the bomb down here, then that'll be amazing. You can see the bombs towards middle right now. The rest of the team, however, towards B. So maybe some trickery coming forward from Stu, but he does join his teammates in the end. So whatever they have in mind would be cancelled at this point.
Cold bolts for Fallen. Not necessarily in that order. In fact, almost in reverse. We'll head down Monster. Flamey stands behind the barrels. He's completely blinded. And they're going to try and get to him before his vision's restored. They fail in that effort and get combated by Edward as well. But they've gotten kills in return. No bomb plant. That would have been their goal, having gotten 2 kills. But very quick reactions from Navi to rotate and get around to the window. And get started. You almost have to go through the formalities at the start of a CS game with the pistol round, get it out of the way, and let's get it on.
Well, we will here, Matthew. Round number 3, the AKs come out in 3s. coldzera and Fallen will be on the Galils, opting for more utility. The Galil is $2,000 opposed to the AK, which is $2,700. Obviously gives you a bit more breathing room and getting those smokes, Molotovs out. Suggests to me they'll be ending up with full execution towards the A side, presumably double nades towards middle. This is quite fast now as Fur wants to get stuck in. There is a player, though, and what a player it is to push towards long. Simple, behind them all. This could be something quite special for him, but stopped in his tracks. Fallen, the father figure of the squad, watches their backs and Stu with a lovely shot there from the connector to give him the 5-on-3 advantage.
Flamey does get the shot back onto Fur. They'll enter, however, behind him. They've gone all the way down for Monster. And Stewie manages the kill onto the man that was previously at sandbags. That opens up the availability to focus inside of the site. Why is the bomb coldzera? Uncharacteristic mistake going hunting because the bomb dropped behind the barrels. They never get a plant, and Electronic gets back in to find Fallen.
3-0 Navi. Zeus stepping up when the team needed him on the B bomb side there. Nice work with the M4A4. No bomb planted. If they had got it down, they'd have a buy here, SK, but for now, I think they'll just be on pistols, knowing they can buy up in the next one. Perfect start for the hometown heroes here. Have a look at the scoreboard. 4 kills for Electronic, 3 for Simple Flamey and Edwards. Zeus on 2, but those 2 frags were absolutely everything in the previous.
Oh, yes. Bolt wants to go. X-ray turned off. I do admire that we use X-ray sparingly as we can and
yeah, it
shut it off.
It displays the true skill of the game. You know?
Yeah, I'm still a fan of X-ray off and replay at the very least because there's a lot of context that perhaps viewers don't see and how incredibly fast the shots are, how little information they have available to them. That one was a little bit more predictable, but still well-suited. You can understand the anticipation that the players are faced with. Either way, that's a topic for another time, as it's 3-0 for Navi. Early gun round from SK based on the plant in the first. And it means that we'll have potentially a 4-0 score in guns again. Cold quiet to start off this game, even with that gun round. Jumped over the barrels with the bomb. Arguably a mistake because it cost them not necessarily that in itself, but it certainly cemented that they lost the round. He's yet to get a frag on the board, by the way, as Zeus finds one of his own. He'll take down Fallen, and just to compare that, because let's keep that going. Simple has 4 and 1.
Oh, yes. It's definitely a duel worth tracking, I would say, after what we saw in the first. And here we go, next gun round.
Stats were almost identical in the first.
Yeah, that was insane. Like, I remember saying, oh, wow, coldzera's got 40. Wait, so it's simple. Like, it both came in the exact same time, the exact same round. That was insane. So we're going to be the all for simple now. And we'll see whether he can open things up towards shore, but it's a very slow default coming in from SK. They won't be probing towards that area just yet. Fallen with his AWP. Certainly found his confidence towards the end of Inferno. It was actually coldzera on the CT side of regulation as doing the primary AWPing, and I respect it, you know. Sometimes the AWP just doesn't work out for you, you're not hitting your shots, so you kind of lose confidence for a little bit, and you hand it over to someone who's capable. coldzera definitely worthy of the AWP responsibilities, and he did a great job until Fallen was ready again, and then he absolutely killed it, so that was perfect. Really well done by SK in that respect. Just to know when it's time just to take a break, take your foot off the gas for a second. And we go into round number 5. SK trailing by 4 on the T side. It is a CD-sided map, remember. See if Fallen can open things up. Flashbang goes over. Electronic on the other side. He is backed up, I believe, towards the APC. Simple is there on the corner of the side. So Electronic's there to take the initial bait, which is one and done sort of position usually, but maybe the other way around. Maybe Simple's going to take the aggro for him. The Flashbang certainly suggests that was the case, but Electronic goes down with nothing.
I do question how often that flash works. It seems like every time I see it, when it's a rifle there and not an op, they go down.
Sure.
Because usually there's more than one player coming that direction, and there's usually more than one angle at which they're facing you from.
The thing is, there was 30 seconds left. They had no information on the map.
Sure.
They wanted to get something, but yes, I do agree. Zeus, that was awful. He'll be going down with nothing, but Edward stepping up with the MP9. The knife's coming out. And I don't think there's time to plant. Definitely not now, as he carries the round. Fur left the AWP. He might not survive, though, and he won't. He'll get no money for this round.
That's unbelievable. That's a huge win from Navi. The fact that Edward, with an MP9, shuts them down so convincingly, and you mentioned it, no money, and the op dropped. Big, big, big win for Navi to start off map 2.
Low HP players in front of him. I thought Zeus dropped the ball completely. He did, but Edward picked it up and slam dunked it back. MP9 in hand, denies the plant and the money for Fur. Nothing saved whatsoever. 5-0 into round number 6 now. We'll have to force buy for Fur, and he'll only have a CZ drop to him. Rest of them hovering around the 2K mark. They're obviously maximum loss bonus at this point, so they've gone for a partial buy with a Mac 10 on Stu, in fact. And a little headshot delivered towards Zeus there. Nade will go over. Won't do much. But that was coldzera just dinking him with that CZ.
Zeus, good find behind the barrels, goes back out for more. Fallen, gets taken down by Flamey and a clean sweep. On the cards for Navi, which means they're building up their bank accounts considerably at 6-0 as well, and we'll get guns brought back once again from SK. Fur only... Okay, so AK for him, he'll buy armor, and he's going to give Fallen the CZ instead, but either way, that's still just Fallen on a CZ75. Presumably, he'll play next to teammates and either go as bait, depending on what they need and how late in the round they are, or he'll pick up a gun after one goes down. But it's still a disadvantage off the hop.
Here we go. Fallen being the selfless one here. You see, he's going for the CZ instead of Fur. I don't like that. Fallen had a decent game, but you want your stars on the rifles, right? He can play smarter, try and, work out how he can stay alive. Just as I say that, third does go down first. That was a really nice push from Edward. Well timed, good flashbang. I don't think that AK recovered just yet. They're going to make their way towards it, so Fallen presumably gets that. Stewie gets dinked through the smoke. coldzera gets a kill in return, though. Edward shut down, but look at the damage inflicted. Stu, 4 HP, coldzera on 7. They've still got over a minute to work with here, and a bit of utility. But do they commit towards B? The formation right now suggests they will, but they'll have to wait until smoke comes in towards Monster.
So backing off. Stewie on 4 HP, Cold on 7 already. Another round that's looking convincing from Navi. They're going to have to be perfect on entry. Flash goes through Monster. Flamey's aware of it. He'll flash in return. Good find from Bolts, but Flamey steps out. Stewie, thankfully, the one to go down. I say thankfully because he was on 4 HP. If you could pick one, that would be the one you'd want. But Simple steps out on the AWP. And it's good night once again. Sincerely signed from Navi as SK looks like they're going to go in to a further deficit. 7-0 Navi over SK. Yet to arrive into this second map, and rightfully so, they're going to call a pause. They put everything on the line in the last map, but Navi seems to have more left in the tank to start this one off.
Round 8. There will be money there, but no plants, really. They've had one plant, Matt. That was in the pistol. Nothing at all, not even really close to it as of yet. coldzera 1 and 7. Night and day from his previous performance. Bolts 1 and 7. He was pretty quiet, so that's par for the course, but really need those guys to get online. Stewie 6 and 7 at the top for Navi. Nice to see Edward posting some really strong rounds there. Certainly up and down in his career right now, but that so far so good in this particular map, and it will be a bye for SK. Not the best though. You can see Fallen's got the AWP, but no armor, no nades. Bolts with AK armor, no nades. So bare bones at best as we get into the next round here. Navi sticking on the single AWP setup. That money must be very good. Yeah, 10K on Simple. Similar story for Edward. See whether they can hold the wall from the door. SK yet to post around.
Zeus takes fractional and damage from Flames, backs off, realizing there's no further activity in that direction as of yet. Stu will go. He's on the Galil. Flash out for Fur. That does catch Simple. That'll take him off the corner, but you bet Simple's going to repeat this. Fur behind the rock, nearly found, just barely missed. And Simple, I wouldn't be surprised if he went back for more or he reconsiders. He will withdraw. But in doing so, watch Parkside because he could easily watch to the front side of the bathrooms. Fallen versus Simple is another battle. It's not quite the same rivalry per se as against Cold, but Op versus Op on a map such as Overpass. Fallen is oftentimes the best AWP player on this map. Starts it off by getting Zeus. Finally a man advantage for SK in a round. Edwards outside of the door. That's open. He'll respond by getting better position. Cold's the one to spot him, but doesn't take him down. 14 HP. Fallen can't do much with the AWP. Instead, they're going to put Cold into the corner and allow Stu to go aggressive. Instead, Fallen, he just posted up to watch to see where the support would come in, and he read that well. And it's another trade that's favorable for SK. In fact, down to a 4 versus 2. Electronic pinned to the wall immediately by Bolts.
Well, that should be the round. Simple is playing remarkably well, but this seems like a little bit too much of a stretch as 4 players will survive for SK. Fallen with 2 frags there. Edward gets us set up towards 12, but now the rest of SK coming online. coldzera not quite yet, but that's much better. Go towards the connector, and Fallen hitting some very impactful shots there with the AWP. Simple getting towards T-spawn here, looking to find some exit frags. We'll see if that's possible. These will be important kills if we can pull them off. He'll be holding right back there in spawn. Yes, let's get rid of that. These are important kills. Remember, SK now lose their loss bonus.
Yep.
But they do gain a round. They're first. Took them 8, but here they are. They can still win the half, so I'm not too worried for them just yet. All right, Simple. No real need to give that AWP up.
He's got a smirk on his face.
Yeah, well, still, he's got 11 grand, but not worth. Should have just held the AWP and see if anyone exits, but there you go.
He was more focused, obviously, on trying to get guns down in return for the exact reason you mentioned.
Sure.
That this is the reset for SK. So this round, mid-half, It is T-side, all right? You can build back in a little faster with T-side with bombs down and the less expensive weaponry, but it's still mid-half. This is about the worst time you can be reset. I say about. The only time worse is when you're facing the end of the match.
Yeah, that is the absolute worst. When it's like 13-13, then it happens, and that's devastating. But Flamey trying to shoulder peek out towards Munster, greeted by bullets, but none of them landing. coldzera at a short pipe, but his teammate's already in with the bomb and a frag, and he'll connect towards Edward. This is looking very good for SK now. Look at the two players, they're stuck in the pit, and nades raining in towards them. They've got no chance. They're about to be obliterated, but Zeus does get one back. I might have been completely wrong here, Matt. Now a 3 versus 3. It looked like they were done for.
This is reminiscent of the first gun round, round 3. With the bomb not planted. Thankfully, it's not flung forward. Where Cold took it simple! Punches him square in the nuts as Fur walked down the ramp and realized he'd run into his target rather than found him with a gun. Cold still makes do. But it's simple in a one-on-one with Fallen op versus op. Once again, we see this battle bomb not planted, and it's down in the site. I don't think Simple has yet spotted it. Whether or not that information has been relayed to him is up for debate. The fact that he's not yet leaving the site suggests that he knows it's there. Flash goes out and Fallen's caught by that. 33 seconds, it will slow him down on the way back through.
Simple still has a Molotov and a flashbang. Fallen with nothing. Time is not on Fallen's side. Coming up to the 20-second mark here. Still needs to recover that bomb. I don't think it will be planted here. It's going to come down to whoever hits their shot first. Oh my goodness! Fallen comes out from short, hits him through the box, and it will be another round for SK. It looked like it was destined to be theirs, man. I'm surprised they even got close to a 1v1. They get the first 2 kills like that. They know exactly where 2 players are, but the rotation comes through, and somehow Navi stay in the round. And we'll go against them in the end. And I'm sure at this point they will have one more buy. But if Simple hadn't lost that previous AWP, he'd have so much more money. He could actually help out his teammates, Flamey and Zeus, who have no cash right now. He'd at least be able to drop a single M4. I think he knows it. And it was the tactical pause called by Zeus. They're going for a shotgun on Edward. Flamey with the CZ. Electronic with an M4. Fallen. Huge round for him to pick up. Zeus on the MP9 and Simple as the AWP. Like I said, if he just didn't drop that AWP before, you can see how quickly the game can turn around financially. You might be thinking, oh, he had 11K, he could do that. No, he'd be able to drop an M4 right now and they'd be a lot stronger.
That's a great point, because how quickly are SK back into this?
Yep.
Simple is still unbelievable, so count on the fact that his AWP can make a difference. And Electronics got good positioning as well at bench. There's no one over there, and he's going to realize that, so they can be more secure in their positioning on B. This is doable. Don't rule this out. The fact that Electronics that far up, and a shotgun as well toward Monster. Smoke down. Exactly that spot, the Monster's mouth. Simple sliding into position. If one misstep goes exactly that direction, he's perfectly positioned. He's got another as well. Flamey's going to add to it. CZ75 and bomb down. It is going to be enough. There's no way. I can't see it. SK can't get back into this. And the unsung hero of this whole round is the fact that Electronics securely got to the fountain. Sure, it's fortunate they don't go that way, but it fortifies the stack. Cold will pick up the bomb in return. He'll bypass the barrels because Simple doesn't re-peek, and then when he eventually does go back in that direction, it's all for the best as Simple gets 4.
Well, I guess he makes up for that financial blunder before. 4 kills for him. He reaches 15 kills, Matt, after 10 rounds. This is him continuing that form for the first map. I can't say the same for coldzera, unfortunately. He's on 2 and 10. Maybe he doesn't have enough left in the tank, but either way, Simple looking incredibly sharp here. Unbelievably sharp. And we'll see whether that reset will leave anything for SK to work with here. They've got around $3,000, maybe just less on average. So need to work out, sure, we could purchase here. We could buy everything and potentially steal the round back and leave them with no cash. Best though, they could have maybe a couple of Galils and pistols, maybe SMGs. For me, that ain't enough to beat Simple the way he is right now. The other option is you take a slight partial buy here with P250, maybe CZ, some Kevlar, and you try and get the bomb down. And you allow Navi to get 9-2 up on their map pick. Let's see what they went for. Yeah, pretty much exactly that. They couldn't justify the full investment. They're going to have Glock, no armor for Stu. And the rest of them are P250s, Deagles, barely even a partial buy. I call this a full eco, if I'm honest. And I think at this point, that's the correct call. They're going to be aiming for about 5 rounds here on the T side. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but the most correct one, I would say, out of all the options.
Simple backs away, didn't land the first shot. SK came so close to breaking Navi down. And we're basically cultivating their way back into this game, forcing their way back into this game, but it's not to be. In this round, without weapons, there's nothing they can say to Navi. And you're right, Cold has not done much. We'll see if that can change. He's only got 3,500 bucks. He ain't wealthy. Goes for the Galil rather than the AK. Fallen's on the same, and he's the one that I would mention to be stepping up in his absence on overpass. Maybe it's time for the Northerner to do some work for SK. Time for Stewie. Somebody's got to do it. Electronic with the fast Molotov or incendiary. That's going to go immediately onto the stairs by the park, and they'll extinguish that. Audible from quite a distance as well. That's one of the loudest noises you can hear, so they'll have known that they're wanting to take this position. Interesting that they won't go for the flower boost directly, because this is misleading. They're going to think no one's there, and he baits them into it.
I guess you get a slight bit of camouflage from the flowers.
True, actually.
So
that's a good point.
So yeah, I guess that's why they do it. Makes sense in that respect. It's kind of interesting idea. So you'll see his little head. I'm going to go look it up. I'm going to see how cool that is. Yeah, dude, you can barely see him. Like you come in the corner there. He's crouched. You ain't taking him down. So that's quite cool. Obviously, costs another guy over in the corner, but it's certainly not a pre-fire. He's not as exposed if he's just standing there by himself. So less than a minute here. SK on the ropes. This is Navi's pick, and you can see why so far. Beautiful stuff on the CT side. One player already dinged. That's Bolts. As Electronic looks to punish. He'll fall back and might be taken down, but drops the smoke intelligently. But working towards long, but takes a flash right in the face there.
Yep. Boost isn't still applied, though, and he'll have spotted
what?
Simple. What is that? He spotted it on the first peek, went to the opposite side, and that is absolutely pinpoint precision from Fallen. We'll get the next kill for SK. Unfortunately, there was 2 kills in between, and they were both against them. They lost Stewie, they lost Bolts.
A bomb?
Fur's going to add further to that. Bomb is inside of the site. It's running out of time, 12 seconds, and Fur's going to try and hold with the AWP. What a round he's having. How did I not mention him to be the one to step up? Everyone's so capable. How dare I forget Fur's incredible depth and talent. Smoke out to try and cover off the defuse. That will negate Fur's angle. It's Cold to work with them. Still on the Galil, but Edward's going to try and face this down one-on-one. Knows he's in the corner. Not enough. A third round finally for SK.
Let's get a replay. Put it in 10% speed. First kill on Simple. I couldn't even work out how he knew it, how he pre-fired that. Oh, he spots him first to the right. Then, oh my God, that's like a robot, dude. That's insane that he came around the corner.
That's like the one, you know those guys that play the aim maps and they just go 80-80 and they're not actually aiming, but they know where someone's going to spawn on the aim map. That's like what that is. Like that's like when you die to that, that's how you feel.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that was like.
You're just like, okay, well, nothing I could really do about that one. Uses the rock perfectly. Money's still here for Navi. Remember, though, after losing that one, they are fully invested. Same story for SK. Whoever wins this one will force their opponent to an eco. If Navi can do that, which is looking promising with Edward's first kill. What a great half he's had so far. Really stepping up when Navi need him here. They're currently a map down. Never known to be one of the bigger fraggers these days, but he's up there with Simple right now. Simple 16 kills, Edward 14. Great stuff. They found a 5, make it 5 on 3. Simple completely rails Fallen there.
So good, Simple, so good. Gets an angle, sticks to it, 9 HP, and still makes it work. Bolts wants contact. They don't want anything to suggest that he's even going in this direction, and that gap in the smoke, I'm afraid, is going to favor Zeus because he's got the headshot angle on the ramp. It's dissipated and he's been spotted, so contact won't work at this point in time. Nade goes out. Bolts is going to hug the left, hoping, unfortunately, that they weren't going to do much about it. Maybe he could get away with positioning, but the Molotov was perfectly positioned to force him forward, and then they took the fight very well executed from Navi. Fur with the response of 1. Cold on the AWP, they're both going to go together, and Flamey's going to get behind the planks. With Zeus deep at the end, not really any chance they get inside of the site, and Simple confirms that. 10-3 Navi.
And that's no money at all for SK. At this point, you might be considering the fall by here. they'll get 1900 to the next round. Yeah, they're going to fully invest. I'm not even going to get into that. They're force buying. That's pretty much the end of it. And CZ's Deagles, they have got utility. You need a set piece here, man. You can't run a default with this sort of weaponry. I would say just go straight towards B, go for an execution. That would be my call. But where are they going to head? And they'll go towards mid for now. Wait for any aggression, I'd imagine. And there's some. What are you going to do about that, though, Stewie? Waiting towards connector, like, blown out of the water.
Navi puts a whole new level on, like, the keep it simple stupid.
Yeah, that's good, actually. That could be a t-shirt of his.
Yeah.
Why hasn't he done that?
That would have been amazing. I'd buy that t-shirt.
Yeah, Navi needs to make that t-shirt. Keep it simple, stupid, with a 1 on simple. And his mug on the back of the t-shirt. Let's do that.
His mug, that's so British.
Yeah.
Door open, Fallen with just a CZ. Someone should just Photoshop that now.
Yeah. Well, I think we've already created it just by saying it. It's already been created at this point. They're going to be on the Photoshop at this point. Either way, that is the opening 2 kills for Navi. Remember, this is a force buy from SK, so it still is a big round in that respect. SK, no slouches with the pistols, but maybe they are on overpasses. This ain't working out whatsoever. It was such an epic battle between the 2 titans of the server. Coldera's on 3 and 12 right now. Simple, close to a 20 bomb. As Fallen will desperately try and get anything done here. It's going to be 12-3 by the looks of things. They get 2K per player, or 1900 to be exact. And the final round of the half. 3 still enough then, Matt, believe it or not. With these 2 teams, absolutely enough. It's not like this is...
You're right, absolutely. And they have the talent to make that a possibility. And if things go that way, and we know that they're capable of clutches, there's a lot of things that have to align.
If ESL Pro League has taught you anything,
yeah, 12-3 is the halftime score, you're right.
And it can be turned around. We even had that in Dallas. That was happening in the playoffs all over the place. So don't worry about that. With these 2 teams, anything can happen.
Electronic with smoke down in front of the bathrooms. Looks like he wants to get aggressive. Him not being the only one in his team has Edward all the way pushed up his short pipe now. He's got a bit of a problem. He has to commit to this because if he retreated, they're already inside of construction. Thankfully, Flamey is aware of that, but the trades go so far in favor of SK. They're even, but it's favorable in the fact that they get the bomb site. They may not get a bomb plant out of it, though, with a Molotov thrown on top of the position they were going to cross in doing so. Boost for the AWP. Simple knows that Fallen's down in the pit. Can't land it. You would have expected that he might. Interestingly, Electronic has retreated. He wasn't sure that that was going to be planted onto B, and he was already in position. Thankfully, Zeus gets the next kill, so it won't matter as much that he's not nearby as to help his teammates immediately. Fur's going to rotate around, short pipe for him. He wants to reposition himself to work in it short. Electronic just threw a nade from that direction. That'll be called because the trajectory had to suggest it. Simple's going to confirm that. However, Fur has to be outside of the site, and Electronic's patience pays off. 12-3 is exactly the score we arrive on.
Can't poke any holes in that. Navi just played a perfect CT half. Coldera missing in the second map. 3 kills he finishes the half with. Simple continues to apply the pressure and the pain. 20 kills at half. You can't really say anything negative about that performance, Map. That was really well played. Great rotations, good reads, good calculated aggression. That was really impressive there from Navi.
Well, with that said, we'll take our short 2-minute break. The players will need it as well. We'll get back, and when we do, hopefully SK join us in this game because they are well behind at this point.
Everything changes.
Well, we get underway, and as I said just before the break, SK need to show up in this game. Down 12-3, they'll go over to the CT side, and Henry, tell us that which does not need to be said.
They need to win the pistol.
Thank you.
They really do need that. SK are trailing 12-3, and for anyone who's not aware, maybe you've seen the hype on Twitter and thought, well, I don't really watch CS, but I want to see what's going on here. If you win the pistol, you're basically entitled to 3 rounds after that. It means the opposition won't have enough to fully buy up for those next 2 rounds, and you're not gifted a 3-0 start, but you're looking very good for it. If you lose a pistol now, your opposition, having Navi, will find themselves at map points, which is 15. So there you go. That might break it down a little bit more for you as we get into a fast B approach, and Bolts can do nothing about it. Edward's been so good so far on overpass for Fallen. He's looking to turn this round right on its head. Coldzera's turned up as well, but it's left in a 2 versus 1 for Stu. Hasn't done magical things so far in this quarterfinal, but this will be a perfect time to change everything. But Edward beats him to the punch, 13-3, and that must-win pistol for SK does not arrive. They'll have to force buy here in the second. That's pretty much their last chance.
Absolutely.
Is that us?
It might be. We just hanging out? That's me on the left, right?
Yeah. The long, lovely hair.
I do need a haircut.
You can see Simple with the AWP really is decimating Fallen right now. 15 plays 4. He did start off on the CT side, I will state that. Scouts out now. See whether they can find anything here. It obviously is the force buy.
Fallen drops down, Scout in hand, he'll fall back instead. Navi, man, it took us ages to get through Inferno. They might offset that map quite quickly by bringing this series 1-1, and doing so without much confrontation, without much kickback. SK on overpass, normally so fantastic. It's been a map that they've been remarkable on over the course of their existence, and some of their most notable victories on it. Certainly Fallen has had some of his best plays. Machine will certainly remember. Edward, Mac 10
I was
in
there
hand.
too.
I know, I'm sorry, Henry. How dare I forget about you?
I'm just the guy, as usual, who's making the noises in the background. Ooh. Ooh.
Keep it on Counter-Strike here, Henry.
Nice. Realize what I walked into. Either way, it will be the 4-4. Maybe not for long. Coldzera steals one of the kills away, but it looks like a Navi round regardless. Fur and Bolts to rotate in. And we'll see if he can do anything about it. He's had some great rounds. Not enough of them, unfortunately, and he'll be left with it all to play for. That could be enough, though. Electronic needs to be careful here. Can't pounce on the kill. His teammate aim with him. 15 seconds remaining. Need to go for the safe plant here. If Fur gets Simple, this could be something brilliant.
They'll commit to the plant, though. They now know that Fur is back on the dumpster, and Simple's got the angle covered off. I say they're going to commit to it. Oh, just barely got away with that. There wasn't that much damage dealt, considering, and he was forced to hit the shot quite quickly as Simple was still tracking the angle. So 14-13, Fur can't do much. That seems to be the case for SK throughout the course of this entire game. The top fragger on SK is Fallen. He has 11. The bottom fragger on Navi is Electronic. He has 11. Every single player on Navi is out fragging SK.
Here we go. Oh, this is the worst This is the worst scenario map in CS you could probably have. You're 14-3 down and you've got a full eco. I can't get any worse than that. I'm afraid this is a death sentence, really. This is looking likely to be the third map, which is Mirage, which will be an absolute banger. Forget this one. Remember Inferno for what it was and what Mirage could be. As it looks like Navi have guaranteed their chance at the third. And now, just a matter of time before Navi closes this one out.
Yeah, you know it's desperate when they're on 14 rounds and you've got no armor and the only thing you've purchased is a Zeus.
Yeah.
Not really any other way I can put it together for you. Zeus is gonna work. Stu gets one at least. UMP. He does not look pleased. The expression on his face is anything but satisfied with the way this has gone. He's just looking like he wants this to be over.
Well, this has been the problem with SK overall, that they're getting the very worst out of Stu. He's gone from Cloud9, the star player, the one everyone's talking about, and he just can't seem to find his role within this team. He doesn't seem to have the same sort of freedom. He's not the same like loose play style Cloud9 would bring to the table.
You are taking a star and putting him into essentially, although they've adapted it differently,
Sure.
but essentially what Taco was as a support, I know that's a buzzword,
Yeah.
but a supportive player, the entry player. He was the role player, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Someone's going to get stifled in that situation no matter what, and sometimes you have to look at the overall complexion of a team. It impresses me that FaZe has done so well with so many stars, because oftentimes that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
You need your role players.
I always say this, give them time, right? They've just got 4 players playing in English before. They've never done that ever, you know? That's never, ever happened for them. They've never had to play in English. So I respect it, and I'll say it's going to take time. It's not going to be perfect, and at least up to a major, we'll see what they can do at that point. If that doesn't work out, they crash out there, that's when you're like, well, is this really going to be the setup that's going to bring glory back to this group of players?
Fallen on the FAMAS, goes back out to peek down Monster. It would be one of the greatest comebacks if they could pull this off, but they're already a man down, so we might be just moving on swiftly to Mirage.
I've said it many times before, the most tenacious team we have, maybe in all of esports, could be this SK Gaming. The amount of comebacks they've done in the past has been nothing short of miraculous, but this one might be a little bit too much of a reach. Stewie's going to do something about it, though. 4 versus 3, as they'll make their final approach towards the B side. Bolts, last time defense gets 1, but it might not be enough. Simple looks so aggressive here as Edward smartly drops out smoke. He knows he's low HP and just buys himself a bit of freedom here. It's up to coldzera to fight alone. Edward gets in such a good position. Surely Stewie doesn't know he's there.
Edwards
Got the kill still.
doesn't quite get away with it. Stu makes up for it. 1 versus 1. Bomb planted, and Electronic is heading for the hills. He's actually heading for the window, to be exact. And that window is going to be well served because Stewart is looking everywhere except that direction. He's completely unsure of where his opposition has gone. Smokes down. He actually gets the kill through it.
2 HP, and he will defuse the bomb. We're not quite finished yet. Stewie will keep the dream alive. Hardly anything to celebrate about. A slight fist bump, but it's going to take 10 more rounds or so before they can really start to get hyped up. And that's going to be the beginning of a very long and winding road back into this game. Money going to be tight, though. Only 1 player survives. But they do manage to pick up the AWP. That's in the hands of Fallen. 3 M4s and a FAMAS.
So what else is left for SK? If this happens, that would just be unbelievable after the last match. Be heartbreaking for Navi. Sure, the first map was in itself in its own right, given we are, of course, in the Ukraine. Electronic to go clear, and Long Fur will stand in the corner. Still trying to find something on the scout as well. Not. Oh, the AWP! Preemptive strike, and it's perfectly positioned onto the head of Electronic, and Fur has Simple as well as the bomb. It's about as good as you get from a scout, considering he was blinded in the process. Edward does strike back, but Stu is in the mix. He's taking Edward down a turn. Flamey and Zeus, and Money about to be taken away from Navi with this round's conclusion, but we're not at that logical conclusion yet. It is logical in the end, however. It's 15-5. I'll count up SK's round at this point because 1 more for Navi and we're done. So 10 to go.
They'll have to eco this one. Just have to go through the ecos here. Wait to close it out. 15-5. You're just joining us. I'm sure you've seen the tweets, the Reddit threads of how amazing this game has been, and you're joining here now and thinking, oh, this doesn't look that exciting, I would be with you on that one. This map really hasn't delivered. Navi displayed some brilliant Counter-Strike in terms of their setups, their reactions, and individual prowess in the first half, but SK significantly dropped off here. Mirage will close things out, and that will be the great equalizer. I would say it will be where both teams will be very happy to play, and hopefully we get the epic fireworks we saw on Inferno. So at this point, I had to be the pessimist, but it feels like it will just be Navi waiting to close this one out. I don't see SK getting 10 rounds in a row, but maybe that'll be a thing. If it does happen, it'll be even more epic as Bolt sprays them all down. Pretty simple procedure there, if you pardon the pun. There's Bolts, and we go into the next round. 15-6, SK. Just stabilizing at this point, making the scoreline more competitive.
Well, we are at least getting something from SK, and I know they've already had one exceptional game in this series, so you can't say they haven't arrived altogether. But they got caught off on this game and maybe let their guard down a little bit, maybe put it all in the line in the last one, and it's nice to see at least a bit of a rebuttal before we go into Mirage. Nice to know they're not entirely flatlined. Fallen tries to spray through the wooden boards beside the construction hut, and it's tagged up trying to jump away. Bolts was trying to get flashed into Monster, I think, and just unaware that Electronic was that far up.
Yeah, that was pretty quick by Electronic there, and now they've got plenty of time. This is when Navi do their best work. We talk about them being a slow-paced, tactical team. They get close, oh, nice quick opening like that, they can really punish teams. Simple up against Stu here, who's on the AWP. And we're looking towards the connector. A lot of work to do here. Flamey comes out, that looks like a guaranteed kill, but we can't quite find it. Simple, looking for the punish as he retreats. He'll get away on 33 points of health, now 0. Zeus might take them to the third map with that kill. Edward will smoke the site. And at this point, oh, there is a flank coming in. That's far. If he was going up long right now, he might have a chance to shut this down. This could be even better, though. Going towards middle, spots one.
Good shot.
Nails the shot.
That's another thing we talk. I mean, I've mentioned Fallen and on this map and having great moments. Fur in the bathrooms is normally one of the most evasive players. Him and Rain, I think, really epitomize that position. It is looking like we're reaching the end of this game. However, Fallen down, 24 HP. Simple gets the kill. It's all on to Cold 0. 1 versus 4. Finds the first, but through the edge of the fence. It's Edward that's going to force out Mirage at 16-6 SK. A little bit too late.
Well, it wasn't as epic as Inferno, Matt, I'll say that much, but it does set us up nicely for Mirage. Navi were clinical on their CT side. You can see why they picked that one up. Excellent stuff there. Simple continued that dominating performance he displayed on Inferno. He brought the stats, he brought the firepower again. Cold Zero not so much. Hopefully he hasn't dropped off completely. It is getting late here. We do have to mention that is a factor. It's coming up to 2:30 in the morning. We've still got another map to go, but the Navi guys still going at it. Stu, he looks a little bit dejected.
I don't have to set an alarm clock to wake up to watch the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Capitals again
That's
tonight.
True.
So
You'll be ready to go.
I'll go straight to the hotel, and that'll be kicking off. Speaking of beating and gold and black on the Vegas Golden Knights side of things, they're going up against SK. And yet, look, Mirage is another map both teams can play. I'm still kind of leaning toward Navi after that second map.
I think so as well. It's Mirage, though, and they have shown a lot of weaknesses on that particular map. You remember about it's Mouse Sports. Yep. They can't really handle mid-aggression, it seems. So
yeah, very good point.
We'll see whether that comes through, but SK are going to look much better on Mirage than they did on Overpass, I'd imagine.
Well, I don't think there's any point in harping on too much about the last map. We know where this is going. Yeah. Let's get there. So we'll take a break, and we'll see you on Mirage.
Those guys are going to take a break. Meanwhile, we're going to try to dissect what has turned out to be a little bit more lacking on the second map from the SK side. However, kind of understood given the first map's velocity.
I mean, it definitely couldn't have lived up. Yo, can we keep it down over there? Thank you. I think when you look at the first map, obviously couldn't live up the same thing on the second one, but we were talking how important it is on the second map for some of the guys like Zeus, like Flamey potentially to get into the game. There was no doubts about Simple, and he delivered yet again almost 30 kills in barely 20 rounds or so. And that first gun round was actually super important 3v4 was it for Navi towards the B bomb site, and Zeus gets 2 massive kills, buys extra time for his teammates to rotate in, and then Electronic closes it out. And after that, Navi really got rolling. It feels like that gave them, you know, a lot of life really back, and they just had an amazing CT side. So many good reads. You know, whenever SK would get into the execute phase of the round, Navi had the majority of the team waiting.
Yeah, and obviously you have to say as well, great game from Edward. He had a lot of kills on the board there, someone who's been lagging behind generally for this team and who obviously gets a lot of flack. I have to say, if we go based on what we've seen in tweets from the SK players, they always say that Fallen is calling on Inferno and Cash, and then they said that just for this tournament, Stu2K called on Mirage. So the implication is coldzera was calling on this map, unlike Inferno, where they had an amazing game and he had absolutely dominated individually. I have to say, hasn't looked great when he's been calling, and if he really was calling here, it completely neutralized his individual game. He was bottom of the scoreboard.
Yeah, but Simple was definitely not bottom of the scoreboard. My goodness, the numbers this guy's putting up in this series are absolutely monstrous.
Yeah, he's pretty sick. Edward also, he had a lot of rounds where he was just getting a lot of info for the team, pushing water, and that's what allowed him to make some of those rotations. And for Cold, I think that's also the main reason why he had a poor game. Cold gets his frags mid to late round, once some trades happen, or when his team is entering the site and trading 1-for-1, he then gets the extra kill there. But SK just wasn't even in a position where they could get, you know, that far into the site because they were always outmaneuvered. Some of those hits were a bit telegraphed, again, allowed Navi to over-rotate to the bomb site, and that was really what most of those rounds even weren't close that Navi was winning.
Like, if you see this game here, it won't surprise you if I tell you this lineup has never won on LAN on overpass from SK Gaming, because think of the old SK Gaming. The secret to this map has always been, how do you control the mid area? How can you do a fast rotate off? How can you trick someone into thinking you're coming to the other side? You hold the defender there. This time, Navi could literally just straight up read, if we've heard someone near a site, rotate extra people there, wait, and SK literally did almost like the POG classic, if you just wait till the end and then all just go into the same site that you were outside anyway. So it just suggested lack of confidence, seemingly lack of ideas of what to do. Obviously, part of the problem, as you've touched on before, is since there would be people aggressive on the A site, they never felt comfortable setting up there. So really underwhelming from the SK guys. Luckily, they won the first maps. It doesn't matter. We're still going to the third one. But if you're Navi, you've completely forgotten about that first map now.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking about the first map, it's one of those where you could see the looks on Navi's face. You could see Simple. They're in a 2vx, and it's something where they've got smiles on their face. They know, hey, we can wipe the last map off. We got a fresh slate now. We're going into Mirage. That's going to be, you know, the decider here. And it's just completely reset.
And this is a worry, I think, for SK Gaming, because, again, in line with what I said before, they apparently had Stu2K call earlier. Assuming he wasn't trolling, he called on that map earlier in the tournament. Is that one that coldzera is going to call on? If it is, I mean, that's a map I always think of him as being one of the best players on. I hope his game's still going to be there. And Navi has, SK Gaming rather, has not been particularly good on Mirage ever since they made this move to this lineup.
Yeah, but I still believe it's going to be much more easier for them to play Mirage than it was to play Overpass, right? They're much better at adjusting to things on the fly. Even so, there's more room for individuals to make plays, right? So even if you can't think of something to do as a team, even if your strategies are not working, you can always play a bit more of a free-flowing style and give those guys like Stewie, like Fur, a bit more freedom, let them off the leash, and if they can get some openings, that allows guys like coldzera to finish rounds.
I mean, we got all the numbers in the world here from the last 3 months, but to me, when I look at this game, this is in the sense of what a true rivalry game would be in traditional sports, right? So wipe it all away. These teams are battling it out head-to-head right now. They're about on par with each other. They're about on level playing field. And anything could happen here in this third map.
The problem for SK is Simple is red hot. Like, still both maps, right? He has close to 70 kills over 2 maps or even over it. And I think the thing with that is something that Simple does really well that not a lot of oppers do. He is much more mobile from middle. Like, you will see gun rounds because Zeus is holding B and teams try to exploit that. He goes straight at the beginning of the round towards B or fires off a shot in mid and rotates towards B, or is playing from ticket because he feels that with all the utility being used on mid, even for a guy like him, there's only so much you can do. You are probably better off going elsewhere and trying to find an opening for your team on the other side of the map.
Well, we've seen the first 2 maps of the series. The first one, a knockdown drag out. The second one, not as showing and telling of what SK is capable of. We look at the third map. We're going to Mirage, and I need to ask you guys where we're standing now, given the results of that second map.
I'm going to still have faith in SK. That's my prediction in the beginning. I'm going to stick to it to the end. Something to keep an eye out for might be that B bomb set for SK. They've been switching around CT roles for a while, ever since they added Stewie, but Bolts has been moved to B, and he's had a poor series so far, right? coldzera is now the A anchor and all of that stuff, so it'll be interesting to see if Navi decides to put some extra pressure on that B bomb set early on the T side.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Navi for this one. I do think it should be a much better game than this second one. Hopefully more in the vein of the first one because it is a bit more of a comfort map. You can play a lot more individually on this one. You don't need the set reads and the set strats. I'm certainly interested to see what the calling situation will be like. Even if they had Stu2K do it in the group stage, I don't think they do that now in the decider in the playoffs. Right. I think they'd probably go with coldzera if he's the guy calling. So I definitely want to see if Simple can go ham. I'm going to say Navi takes this one in close fashion.
And Stewie definitely stepped up there in that last map, so perhaps he's more coming online into fruition here in this last map of Mirage, which is the decider in this best of 3. One of these teams is going on to the semifinals, and the other one is going home. And I'm telling you right now that neither one of these teams want to go home first, especially Navi, since, you know, we're already here. Playing against the crowd, SK Gaming might be doing that, but just on the other side of that is Simple, and he is red hot. You do not want to miss this third and final map of the evening. Can Simple and crew do it with not a sincere, or can SK Gaming and company take this one to the house? We're going to go to a quick break. We come back, we're jumping into Mirage.